So congratulations to you both. I love the single, love the album too. When you were a kid, did you sing with your father?
No, I didn't sing with him. He would wait. He had this habit of like just putting me on a table in front of everybody and saying something to me. And sometimes I did, and sometimes I was too shy.
Just a little bit of pressure then.
Yeah, but I didn't know that in that way. I just always thought it was funny. He used to just come here, sing blah blah for them.
Yeah.
You know.
How great. And so pulling this whole album together as well, I mean, to get those people from the past, it's a bit of magic.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, you know, the whole concept of the record was a bit magical. It was the coming and thinking, because, you know, Elvis loved gospel music above all, and it wasn't just his favorite music. It's what grounded him. It's what he really loved. When he was upset, it's what he would go to. After a couple of concerts, he was always listening to gospel. And it was a really magical progression that led to, you know, Lisa doing this tremendous performance. And what was the most obvious is every single musician who was on this record, even though Elvis had passed for many, many years, was trying to impress him like I'd never seen before in a studio. Everyone was trying to do their best for Elvis. You know, we were all crying in the control room while Lisa was performing. It was just really was magical.
So they were crying. How did you feel? I mean, you've done it before, but again, maybe as time goes on, do your feelings change?
I was thinking technically what harmony above or below and stuff, and then I hadn't read then I looked at the lyrics and I was like, oh my God, because I wasn't familiar with this particular song. And I was just like, oh my God, this is my life right now. And I don't think I sang it very much. It was maybe 3 or 4 takes, but whatever, I just felt really emotional. It's never pleasant to sing and cry. It just doesn't happen you just can't do that in a good way. So I had to keep my composure, but yeah, I felt very connected to him and to the song.
You know, I was lucky. I had my dad for most of my life. From, you know, to like a good age. You lost obviously your dad younger, but do you like talk to your dad? Do you think about him every day? How does that work?
No, I don't. I wouldn't say I talk to. I just remember everything and all the, you know, I just can sort of pull out of the files, you know, whatever memory I had and stuff like that. I just hope that he's, you know, maybe occasionally ask for help.
Yeah.
Which was the case with this record too. Like I just felt like a hand came down to me, like
really?
this, you know. It felt like that a little bit.
Yeah. Because I mean, the words are just so powerful, aren't they?
Yeah, because I read it and I thought, my God, I know his struggles. You know, a lot of people know what those were. I just had the same struggles. You know, in the last few years, I had a really rough go. So it was like the perfect thing. Like, you know, I was okay. He went through this. He went through this. He went through this. You know, and he's gonna help. Maybe this is some kind of sign. You know, that's why I did it. It was just it felt like a sign of some sort.
And the concept for this started, you know, in the 3 a.m. in the back of Graceland, where it just hit me. I was speaking with a film director, and it was just that this was the right time and place. And I had asked Lisa after she had done the recording. By the way, after the take she did after the gravitas, after the weight hit with the words, was the take that you hear on the record. It's one of the most incredible takes. You can't, you know, discern where Elvis ends and Lisa. Is it above? Is it below? And it's one of the most incredible performances I've ever heard in my life. But I asked her afterwards. I said, if you could ask your dad, if you could say one thing to your dad, what would it be? And she said, a little bit of help. And I think what's really happening here is that this is the help that her dad's able to give her.
Growing up and watching your dad and obviously hearing all his love of gospel, but was your dad quite religious as well, would you say?
Very, very much so.
Yeah?
Very much so. He always had books stacked up this high next to his bed, you know, and they were all religious. If you go up to his bedroom, there's a little office connected, and there's just nothing but books of every religion and every kind of, it's a million Bibles, and, you know, he was constantly searching, and he was very connected to gospel and that sort of thing.
Obviously, we're just here in the shadow of Graceland as well, and there is that area where the public are not allowed. Is that an area then when you can go for like a little bit of solace?
Absolutely. It's the one place I feel the safest ever.
Really?
Is if I get the key, that I keep the key to upstairs with me. If I take that key and just like shut that door up there, which is just his room and my room, and kind of where he was his sort of sanctuary. If I can just sort of shut that door and like feel the safest and the calmest that I could possibly feel is upstairs.
And is it just the same as it always was?
Exactly the same.
And was that bit of the house, because it was the private rooms, is that not as showy? Is that a good description? You know, it was just more like a home, it was bedroom?
Oh, it's showy.
Yeah.
It's got long red, no, not red, shag carpet that's about that long, black bed, red walls, gold, everything here and there. It's not.
And also you've got the new exhibit as well. So again, the memories, I mean, are there like memories coming back that you thought, oh my goodness me, I completely forgotten that?
Yes, very much. I was like, why an exhibit on me? Nobody cares. Who cares? I don't know. And then I went in, and I was like, oh, that's cool. That's cool too.
Anything particularly in this new exhibit that hit home, or it was different, or something that was almost new to you?
There was a quote on the wall as I was leaving the exhibit, and it said something like, becoming a father is the best thing that ever happened to me. And I had never seen it before. Last night was the first time I saw it, so it was really cool.
Wow. What did that feel like? I mean, really, really feel like?
That I knew there was a great love there, you know. I knew that there was a really strong connection since the minute I can remember. So, and it kind of reinstates what I felt was the truth, which is that. I felt like I was the most important thing to him, and I felt like our relationship was special, so it was something that kind of acknowledged that.
Yeah. Because you've often said about being daddy's girl and getting away with things.
Yeah. Yes, I was absolute terror.
What was the worst thing as a kid?
Well, one of the I just saw in the video. There's a running sort of home video section.
Yeah.
And as we were doing an interview earlier, I looked at the screen and I see myself as like maybe 3, 4, and I grabbed somebody, tried to take a present from me or something, and I was like, ripping it back, knocked the person over. Yeah. So I'd never seen that one before either.
You're a monster.
That was a little terror.
And what has surprised you as you've delved back into all these incredible songs and these incredible memories? Has anything surprised you, Joel?
Just the performances. They're awe-inspiring when you listen to take after take, because we were able to go back into, the masters and really alternate takes and a lot of things you have never heard before. It's just how effortless it was, but it was effortless, but at the same time, every gospel song that he recorded, he sang it as if it was the first and it was the last time he ever sang it. He sang it like he was coming, that nothing mattered before and that nothing mattered after, and the passion, and it was amazing. And then when Lisa with the duet with, it was just so amazing that she actually, after feeling the words, after really, getting comfortable with them, gave that same type of performance. If anyone ever doubted that Lisa, obviously she looks so much like her dad, but if you ever doubt it, listen to them singing together, and that would be proof enough in a court of law for me. So it's just it's amazing how she really, Elvis is to me the greatest performer of the modern time. And for her to be able to step up and sing with her dad, it wasn't just, hey, I'm going to do this. She was there with him. And when you hear it, it's like, is that Lisa? Is that her dad? Is that Lisa? Is that her dad? And I've never heard that before in any type of situation like this. Just extraordinary.
Is there anything that you're discovering about your father? Because, we all feel, because growing up with him, watching him, we've listened, we've heard. Are there any things as you go along the way, you go, oh my goodness me, never knew that?
Nothing surprises me at all anywhere, but it's not surprising, but it's very comforting how many people come every year constantly, and how much people love him, how much people want to still hear from him, and how important this place is, Graceland, and the hotel, and all the different attractions, and trying to accommodate people to stay longer than just and people want to stay, so we're kind of it's expanding pretty rapidly, and I find that that to be compelling.
And it's not only Elvis, it's people truly care about Lisa, they truly care about her being happy, they truly care about her being successful. And it's really the song in the album, Where No One Stands Alone, and Where No One Stands Alone is Graceland.
Like having an extended family.
Yeah.
About 20 million of them.
When it does come to the madness, and you know, here's another Elvis story, another conspiracy theory, whatever, do you read any of these? Do you just dismiss them? Do you laugh at them? I'm just always intrigued at how you would deal with them if you do have to deal with them.
I am dealing with all the ones about me. I can't be bothered with anybody else at the moment. No. But, you know, I don't take, I can't take it, you know, I don't take it seriously. If you're talking about the crazy, sensationalistic, nutty stuff, yeah, I just don't read it.
It would have been interesting as well, and so lovely, for him to have been able to give you advice.
That would be amazing. I would that I would very much wish that could happen. Because I do feel like, you know, he would be there, he would protect me.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's the protection that I haven't ever had since I was 9. And so I think, especially recently, I think that he would absolutely protect me. Which is a nice feeling, knowing that he would, you know, and that's kind of why this song, that's why I did it. It just fell in my lap, and I thought, oh, I'm really connected to it right now, and for some reason this is happening, and I need to do it.
And in terms of your own words as well, I mean, you know, you've spoken about it before, about a biography, and you know, coming out and setting all the records straight as well. Is that something that you still...
Oh, that was tabloids again. Yeah. There's been no...
You've never thought about doing it?
I will absolutely do one. I just don't know when. I haven't had time to think about that. I'm still in the middle of a psychological thriller right now, and when it's over, maybe I can write it.
And also, you know...
Meaning my life.
Yeah,
okay,
of course.
good.
Yes or no, yeah. Get through that episode first.
Right.
Yeah. You'll be looking forward to that, some kind of closure.
I'm very much looking forward to that.
The last chapter.
Exactly. Not the last. Let's not go there.
Sorry, yes.
Yeah, that's a bit too dark. But yeah.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Actually, I was just thinking that when you're talking about your father and those words about him becoming your father, and then when you became a mother, and then when, you know, Riley said, I'm going to go into the business, what would you take then?
I felt like Riley had a really good head on her shoulders. If I had a child that did not, didn't seem to be strong in themselves, I wouldn't allow it. Riley was absolutely like, I'm going to model for the money, and then I'm going to act, and then I'm going to be a director. And I was like, okay. She had a whole plan, and she did everything she said she was going to do. So, but I wouldn't do that, though, if I felt there was uncertainty or vulnerability or a weakness. You know, I'd have them hold until 18.
And also great as well, you can then impart the advice that we're talking about that sadly your dad wasn't able to give to you.
Yeah, yes. I mean, I live each day like it's the last with them now, you know, I really soak in everything.
What was the hardest bit for you when you were coming to producing this album, Joel?
You know, I think there was the song selection, because I think it was very clear in my mind, and I think Lisa felt a lot of the same ways. I think the single was the slowest, because it wasn't a huge hit. It wasn't a gospel song that people were used to, but you know, there were versions like Saved, you know, because Saved isn't a classic gospel song, but it's just such an amazingly powerful song. And what I looked for was the passion. So what I tried to do is I listened to Elvis, and the way I was able to listen to him was listen to his performances. And you could tell when he loved the song. You can tell when he sang that song like no one else had ever sang that song before, and maybe the last time he'd ever sing that song. So it was feeling a certain way, getting something, and then getting everyone else on board. But the hardest part might have been just getting through it, because it was so emotional. You know, it's just you know, crying in the chapel, tears of joy. You know, there are so many tears of joy that have been shed in this project that it's definitely, you know, something I'll never forget. And working with Lisa, and just hearing Lisa in the same studio that her dad had recorded 50 years before. So she sang, you know, the song in the same studio that he had done the audio for the '68 special in. And just that gravitas being there was just really so amazing and special.
What do you think you've learned from this, or what will you take from this experience now, do you think?
It was done out of a labor of love. I mean, Joel had a vision. I thought he was nuts singing, on this thing. So when I went in and then I heard the first copy, I'm just like, I forgot if I was singing the lower or the higher harmony on some parts. And it felt really right. I didn't know what was happening. I followed what his vision was. I listened. I went in. I was very pessimistic about it, and my head is so far up my own rear with problems and situations that I needed to get it out of there long enough to do something productive in all this. try to have something good happen now, and it was, and it is. And it feels like I said, it feels like a hand came out or down, or and that's really been moving. It just feels right. It's one of those things. I've just followed it, and it's right.